kind of just too tentative on the Orianna and never really had any shockwaves of note. By the time there was double redemption, double locket, no value out of the shockwave that game. So I'd like to see him on a different champion to get to know Justice a bit more in this game.
Well, SKT over on the blue side still going to be banning away that Kog'Maw, taking that one right off the board. Jin Air likely going to be seeing that Ezreal banned away again. We've seen what happens when you give that Ezreal to Bang, especially with the state of Ezreal currently. He absolutely destroys. We finally got to see a lot more of an aggressive side from him at the start of that series versus the Rocks Tigers.
Kind of peculiar to see the Untara-focused Gangplank ban from Jin Air, especially because So1 is going to be pretty happy to jump on the Jace or maybe take a leaf out of Viper's playbook and play the Riven. So1 was a one-trick Riven god before he came into the professional scene, and Viper did play Riven into Gangplank earlier today in the NACS, or any development league, I forgot the new name. Regardless, Gangplank ban after Untara's just chain feeding in Game 2 of SKT really led to their loss is a relevant thing to point out here.
So development league makes it sound like it's like a municipal facility or something like that.
I think it's actually the LPLs, the development league for the second league there. I agree it's a weird name, but regardless, when we focus on the draft, Gangplank excluded. The 3 big 80 carries are gone, which brings Varus value up
quite significantly. So yeah, Kalista gone there. Do they want to ban the Varus, or do they want to hand that one potentially over to SKT for the first pick? It's going to be Sejuani taking that one off the board, so still don't want that in the hands of Wolf. And SKT is just going to snatch up the Rise yet again. Figures like, okay, you know what? I brought us back into the game single-handedly with this, so I guess I'll just play it again.
A higher priority than most teams would put on Rise, given the kind of favoring of the Varus, and it felt like they had to pick the poison between Sejuani and Varus, but turns out the Rise is going to be the higher priority. And speaking of higher priorities, Jin are going to abandon going for the Varus in this game. Very early Caitlyn on red side.
Teddy did do quite a bit of damage, topping the charts there in Game 1 with this Caitlyn, but it wasn't impactful enough. But now, playing around with a couple different ideas there, but not going to be seeing the Kayn locked in, and it's going to be the Braum at the end of the day.
Yeah, much more standard, so full bot lane is committed to for Jin Air. Action on to SKT. Could definitely be Flex Camille locked in. But it's largely been Blank that was playing in solo queue and not Wolf, and Wolf will be retaining his spot as jungler in Game 2.
So Tom Kench here yet again for effort. So see that one picked up and hover over the Morgana. It's going to be interesting to see, but playing with fire if you want to go ahead and lock that one in.
That would be the interesting self-double counter pick. First Sivir into Caitlyn, then Vayne, but it's possible.
Oh, well, maybe we'll just go straight back to Sivir, and we will. So goes ahead, locks that one in. Can at least mitigate the Qs out from the Braum with the spell shield. So just going to be running into the same bot lane here is SKT.
Final pick of the first round available for Jin Air. They're not going to take an answer to Rise at this juncture. It feels like they want to hold on to their mid lane pick longer. So we'll be locking up the Gnar as far as we can tell. Blind pick top lane. Not sure what Untara want to take into that. I don't think he'll be interested in taking the reverse matchup and taking the Ornn.
Take the Yasuo.
Doesn't really strike me as an Untara pick, but it was actually So1 who was the Yasuo, you'll remember.
Yeah.
He was pulling off the Yasuo Science moments in summer last year.
I remember some words were said about that.
I forget.
But I wasn't on that cast. I was just spectating from home and having a jolly old time.
That was a long one. Thank you for sticking through with it. Ban here of the Camille. So going to ban some of the strong matchups into Gnar. And get So1 a sort of advantage that was able to allow Untara to pick up the MVP with his Gnar performance in the previous game. Cassiopeia ban. Makes sense. Bit of coverage for Rise. So covering for top lane on the red side and mid lane on the blue side with the bans thus far. We get to the 0 seconds and an Ornn ban here. Okay.
Okay. Taking that one off the board out of the hands of Untara. Interesting, considering, you know, the Gnar going into the Ornn has been so popular, but they don't want that in the hands of Untara, I suppose. Ban away from Umpty, just getting that Nidalee off the board as well.
3 games of Gnar, 3 victories and a loss on Gangplank is the effective champion pull from Untara so far this season. So Orin would be kind of a simple lose lane slightly, but get through it and power through it kind of choice, and that's no longer available. We see Umti jumping onto the Jarvan this time.
Taking that one away from Wolf. So what is he going to show us this time around? We've seen J4 and Sejuani. One's banned, one is picked.
And top lane and jungle, bit of a mystery given their this season priorities have been taken away. Shyvana. We were talking a lot about Shyvana from Wolf in game 1. They already have locked up the Rise. They're going to have confidence in the Unsealed Spellbook Sivir to be able to stay in lane for extended periods even after being harassed out by the Caitlyn. Final question mark on the top lane into the Gnar. Lucian is a counter pick that we saw Keen use against Smeb's Gnar.
Or maybe we're just going to go super standard. The Maokai, that'd be a really brutal lane to take yourself into versus the Gnar, but they're going to go ahead and lock it up.
Sivir Maokai, the old duo, even throwing in the Rise makes them a bit of a trio. Very, very strong team fight from SKT. Maokai brings the guaranteed engage that Shyvana lacks.
Getting to that point. Oh, hey there, okay.
We haven't had a resident Aurelion Soul for a while, but we actually get one as Justice. We'll be taking Aurelion Soul into Faker. Very, very interesting to see this pick come back out of nowhere. An ALCS with Huhi. Makes sense we might be seeing Aurelion Soul in the future. Aurelion Soul kind of didn't have a keystone to really use for the majority, but there was a direct buff to his ultimate cooldown and then a buff to his favorite keystone, which is usually going to be the Phase Rush for the ranged champions to also have the slow invulnerability or reduced effectiveness of slows. So we expect Phase Rush. I guess it could still be Unsealed Spellbook given the power of that rune. Interesting stuff. Okay, Justice. Been around the Longzhu org for a while previously, now onto Jin Air. We were bored with the standard Orianna, but now it makes sense why he held on to the pick for the final pick. He wants to make Aurelion Soul work for the first time.
Intriguing to say the least. This draft right here, full of surprises. You were talking up the Shyvana from Wolf. He's been spamming it in the solo queue. Now with a Maokai in the top lane, going up against a Gnar, self-counter pick. Sivir in the bot lane versus the Caitlyn Braum, another self-counter. Shyvana wants those dominant lanes to rely on Papa Smithy, but SKT are basically doing the opposite. Now we have the wild card of the Aurelion Soul in mid.
And that's what makes it oh so fun, because they have to find a way to navigate all those very clear pitfalls.
All right, this is gonna be a juicy game for sure here as we get loaded up. SKT in the lead. Jin Air looking to tie things up. Is the Aurelion Soul gonna be enough to offset SK Telecom? Let's find out as we load in for what could be the last game of the week. The Jin Air fans really finding their voice there as they continue to cheer on the squad. Very close game. Effort. He's going to get invaded on here. Concussive blows getting ready to proc. Flashes away from the last one. Already going to be at a disadvantage.
Always feels like a missed opportunity when you don't at least consider an invade as Braum. By far the most powerful level 1 champion. Other people might say Alistair, maybe if you're being face-checked, but because Braum can set up a pick from range, Blitzcrank's right up there too. Anyone who can do things from range non-committally is going to be among the most power picks. One of the SKT fans on the screen. Got a full studio here on a Saturday night, 9:20 p.m. or so when we're going to get started for Game 2. Shorter than some of our recent days, for certain.
Yeah, like our first one back together here. That was a marathon day, Papa Smithy.
We'll put that to one side and do some bookkeeping, find some stopwatches. Only 3 this game. Only stopwatch on the jungler. On the side of Jin Air. A little spot out from So1, so for no cost at all, he walks in. There's the start for Shyvana. No fake leash is going to be coming out on the side of SKT, so they're happy to give free information to the side of Jin Air.
Been a while since we've gotten to see Faker play against the Aurelion Soul.
You're thinking back to Fly, of course.
Yeah.
In the telecom war of 2016. A lot of fun there with Fly as our resident Aurelion Sol, but he's gone now.
Quite some time ago.
Will not be playing on FlyQuest for the first 2 weeks was the news story that came out, which is unfortunate. Fly is going to be denied from us for a few weeks. But Coach Fly is back for Jin Air GreenWings.
That's true.
So we keep one Fly in the league at all times in our contracts.
We are single-handedly responsible for that.
Indeed.
Not OGN, us.
Or Riot Korea for that matter, apparently. Nice trades here.
Yeah,
you don't get a lot of practice against Aurelion Sol in solo queue or scrims. I think that's one of the hidden power things. I feel if we ever had an Aurelion Sol meta, things would change pretty dramatically. I feel the same way about Evelyn, that is like at the corner of the competitive meta scene in some other regions, but not in Korea yet. Just because there is that unknown power, it adds weight to things. As we're considering a turret dive here.
Certainly be ballsy. Justice coming in as well, cruising over across the map. And Tara cornered here at level 2.
Siobhan is still pretty far away.
He's going to get locked down. Yeah, the orbs are just ripping him to pieces. Justice going to come up with that kill now. Wolf here over the wall, just throws out the E, but that's about all he can do. So first blood yet again. Jin Air going to pick that up.
How many minions are under the turret? You have to teleport back in. Wolf needs to stay and clear his Gromp. He actually can't leave to another quadrant of the map because they would just turret dive him again. He'd lose, what, 2 levels of minions, it feels like, and a massive amount of experience. So need the coverage of his jungler there. Well orchestrated by Jin Air, and with good synergy with their new mid laner, who we couldn't really say too many things about after kind of a non-factor game as Orianna, first time out. So good stuff from Justice and Jin Air.
I believe he picked up double rings as well. Justice there, Dark Seals.
Bling bling.
See when he flips back over. And so on. I believe he's got a cull for the top lane. Oh,
great score.
Gonna be a bit of a reverse situation here if they can get the Devour onto him, but yeah, he's got the stand behind me, jump back over the side of the minions there.
You're right, it is the Dank Seal build from Justice here, made famous by Singed last season. A lot of immediate power there. You only get 1 source of stacks, of course. Wraith doing his best to tank up the minion wave.
Almost had that, couldn't quite get in range. Didn't want to be threatened by the turret with that slower move speed, so Wraith will be okay. Tara, in the meantime, this is going to be a very rough lane for him. Already down 16 CS in a counter matchup. And then R felt comfortable enough to go ahead and pick up a cull to get that nice little cash out at the end.
Such is the way when you're in a Maokai matchup. And go for kind of comfortable outscale perspective. Cannons often do the same sort of thing as well. Haven't seen the unsealed spellbook Ignite Cannon just yet, but I guess with Marin gone, it was less likely. He's a level up on his opponent, and they would have had first roam, but they back away.
They can take a bit of damage there, but not going to get stunned in the ring.
Just want to confirm, it is Phase Rush, as I predicted from Justice. That's one of the champions that fits Phase Rush the best. The other one is every solo queue game in Korea with the Ghost Flash, Phase Rush, Darius top. It's always the case.
I fortunately have not seen that yet.
Really?
Yes.
Matt, literally everyone at my ELO insta-locks Ghost Flash, Phase Rush, Darius. You will notice there's Precision as the secondary tree from Justice. I imagine Presence of Mind might actually be taken there. So you have the unlimited mana to spam your W on level up and in team fights for 7 seconds.
Oh. Wolf's got the jump over, but he misses the flame there, so not going to be getting that bonus damage in onto Umti. He is still just fearlessly charging around that upper side of the jungle. As Faker continues to try to whittle away at this Aurelion Sol. Wolf now coming back around as the Gromp gets started up. Tara's in the vicinity. Faker not roaming yet. It's actually going to be Justice roaming first, but Wolf just going to go ahead and use that smite. But now, Bandara, he's just going to get set up on.
Level 5 as well.
Another dive. Wolf is here, level 6. Flash comes out. Voice of Light not going to connect. The stun into the wall with a wall up on top, and that is just going to be Umti picking up a kill as Antara, yet again, very much like we saw in the Rocks Tigers game, he's getting the Huni treatment, the Darius treatment, whichever you want to call it. He's just dying a lot.
And Justice didn't even hit his spells, and yet Nar in the right position, flashes, secures the kill, gets a deep lane ward for the next attempt at a dive. Got confirmation it was the Presence of Mind, as I saw the blue hue to the mana bar, the light blue hue, I should say. So nice returns here. Untara does seem to lend himself to this. It feels like whenever Untara is in the losing matchup, remember, this season, he has played 3 games of Na'A to 3 victories, and then Gangplank and the Maokai, those 2 champions that will be pushed in, have been his struggle streak. So maybe that's a team thing where they need to play around top lane being pushed better and provide more coverage with him. Or maybe it's just an individual thing. I'd have to really scrutinize the VODs to make heads or tails, but the end result is that Maokai is pretty significantly behind. 32 CS already.
Yeah, I mean, he's only got 23 total right now on that Maokai. So, budget build's going to be coming through. 1-0-1 here for the Aurelion Soul. So, pretty solid start for Justice. He's behind in CS, but the kill and the assist is going to be helping to make up for it.
Oh, certainly. He's had great presence on the map, the very early roam. And while he didn't get a kill involvement, was still heavily involved in the delayed turret dive. Nothing much Maokai can do, but at least they have the sort of defense we asked for. Okay, let's look at that map. Triangle of defensive control wards to get the early spot.
This looks familiar.
We only seem to watch bot lane when Wraith is trying to...
It's just the same thing. And,
hold it.
Teddy goes away, and then suddenly he gets jumped on.
But it's a good read from Jin Air, right? You have a roaming mid laner, you have strong gank assist from the jungle, and the enemy jungle is Shyvana. So you're like, okay, you're basically begging us to turret dive. You asked the question of, it seems like multiple counter matchups, what's going to happen? So far, it's gone exactly to plan for Jin Air.
Yeah, at least around the top side of the map. The bottom lane going to be pretty even here for Bang and Teddy.
It's because, as the point I got to in Champ Select is that the unsealed spellbook teleport
helps him stay
that
in.
extra laning phase of 400 damage you did to the champion with your extra orders is negated by a teleport. And then, Sivir with AD, a couple of long swords into a Caulfield's Warhammer, and now a BF sword does shove on the Caitlyn faster than she can. That nerf to the Q, when it comes to wave clear, it's still lower than it was patches ago. So at the end of the day, things very comfortable for the side of SKT in the bot lane.
Here we go. Are we going to do this one again?
Yep.
Wrap around from Umti, and Tara immediately just starts running. They see the Aurelion Soul there.
What do they get? They get the 3 control wards, and they say, hey, 225 gold to get that sort of vision again. If not, we'll be back.
Yep. Faker just trying to maintain control here.
Very interesting choice you'll see. Actually, Sorcerer's Shoes Rush.
Oh, yeah,
from Justice,
right.
Not Merc Treads like you'd imagine against Maokai Rise, which screams Merc Treads to me. Basically says, hey, I'm going to roam a lot early and let's get snowballing. When you get this early Magic Pen, usually you expect a Catalyst here, but 2 Dark Seals does give him some mana. He does have Presence of Mind, so I guess the Catalyst, not as much of a rush.
You can always see him swap it out later on in the game. Faker here getting set up a little bit, trades back nicely onto Justice, though.
This is also happy that Faker seems to be going towards the Rod of Ages and not the Abyssal Mask, because he'll actually get some value out of the Sorceress. As we're doing this again.
And Tara, he just TP'd in. Manages to kite back far enough, but that's still going to be the turret going down. There's nothing that he can do to stop this one. So, a very nice lead stretching here for Jin Air.
I mean, everything Jin Air's done has made sense. The early ganks were successful. Against the top lane that was kind of begging for a dive. They pulled it off pretty effortlessly. They returned to it twice. They take the turret. Good stuff from the side of Jin Air. They had a good early game in game 1, we have to remember, and then one team fight later, things can change, and you see Maokai, Shyvana, and Rise. You don't need to see much more to be convinced that that sort of team fight can be recreated by SKT.
This still is a bit faster pace, though, as effort. He'll get jumped on. Concussive blows, getting ready to come through. He'll get locked up, but still not much kill threat onto the Tahm Kench, so he'll be okay for the moment as he starts clearing out these wards. I was going to say, it was about a little over a 3,000 gold lead, about 16 minutes there in game 1. Now about a 2,000 gold lead here at 11 minutes, so slightly similar. But good for Jin Air, but they need to acknowledge the mistakes that they made in game 1 and try to avoid that from happening here again.
Umti puts 2 and 2 together.
That he does. TP's coming through. That's going to be the Dragon going over to Wolf. So Voyage coming through, looking for the lockdown. Exhaust gets off. Realm Warp as well, I do believe. Yep, there we go. As he arrives, not much to help keep Umti in the fight. Takes the flag and drag, gets locked up on the other side though, and it's going to be Wolf finding the kill. First one on the board here for SK Telecom. 12 minutes just about into this game. Finally put one there. SKT can't really stick around in mid to try to push out that turret.
No way to fully disengage. The teleport was from SKT. The Abyssal Mask was from SKT. There was no backup on the side of Jin Air. They do hold on to the teleport for So1 in a long lane, so have a long leash to actually pull off a teleport that Maokai won't be able to interrupt. But the immediate advantage goes to SKT, both picking up the Drake, getting the Shyvana passive rolling, but also picking up a kill as well.
Trying to claw their way back in here where they can. See though, Faker, a nice significant lead here for himself with Justice doing all of that roaming earlier on, has fallen behind by about 30 CS.
It's like Jin Air have had many control wards in the inventory for a long time, but never actually used them as Faker.
Yeah, Faker is just going to try to go aggressive here perhaps, but now Wraith over from the sideline will go ahead and start stacking up those concussive blows. Faker, those golden stopwatch there. Effort trying to get in range, flashes in for the Devour. Cataclysm comes down, spits him out on the other side of the walls. They still try to chase in. Now Wolf going to be a target as well.
Just low mana.
3 more hits, ready to go. They'll get the lock up here onto Effort. Glacial Fissure coming through. Wolf jumps away with the ultimate, but Effort will die in the end. So despite everything, 2 members of SKT, they walk away with their lives, but they still do lose the support. And now Jin Air are going to be looking for that tier 1 turret in mid.
It's hard to say if this was worse than if Faker died, because they gave up Faker. He has to leave, doesn't have any health, and Tahm Kench is gone. So they get a lot of free time with the mid lane
I think
turret.
this was really good for Jin Air.
Exactly. It's almost the bonus they didn't know they wanted, because now they get the first brick in the mid. So I should say second turret, but they get the turret in the mid lane as well to complement the first brick they got top lane earlier. So much of the map, this is a much longer map than usually there is in an SK Telecom game especially.
Really great pace set by Jin Air here. The question is, can they keep up with it? 3,500 gold now here, just around 14 minutes, so already at a more significant lead than we saw from them in game number 1. Riley's Crystal Scepter completed here by Justice, just going to be trying to slow up everybody as much as humanly possible.
Now he sold a Dark Seal, so when it comes to mana, he only has 100 mana coming through from the 1 Dark Seal. That's actually very low. You do crave a lot of mana. He kind of needs his team to burst 1 and then try to just play off the power of the Presence of Mind rune. He needs to really abuse that, and it's kind of a snowball rune. It feels like you have a Katarina or Tristana needing a rocket jump reset when you really need that for mana stain, or blue buff, of course, are the big things there. Sort of thing where if SKT can engineer denying blue buffs chain on from here, you might have to adjust your itemization. But if you think about it, Achilleos, have we ever seen, since the build was cemented, a Aurelion Sol go anything other than the GLP? For the longest time, that has been the rush. Catalyst into situational at best, but almost always the GLP, and no GLP here.
It's going to be a jump over the wall there. Justice immediately gets knocked down significantly with the HP. Missile Voyage coming through, and yeah, I think this dragon is done for. Shyvana just chunking him out. Now the Realm Warp thrown down here by Faker. They'll come over the wall looking for Bang. In pursuit, the Tongue Lash to slow him up. The lockdown gonna be there, and he is gonna fall. 2 kills more put on the board there by SKT, and they're not done yet. Effort tanking up the turret as they go wrapping around. Bang with the spell shield, denying that trap. Flash away by Wraith. Will go ahead, and it looks like it takes him to safety, at least for the moment. Tara, he's trying to join in the party as well. Comes in, but he's closer to the mid lane, so I think he's just going to clear out the minion wave and likely have SKT push down maybe 2 turrets simultaneously.
That was one of those things where one thing led to another. Suddenly was out of position trying to fight coverage for Justice. I agree that it's kind of surreal that he's teleported in, got some mid lane push, and lost most of his bot lane turret.
The Antara, yeah, that's quite confusing here.
It's almost like he thought he had home guards, even though it was 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah. And now he's just going to get smacked into the wall and get punished a bit by So1, but there you go. That's going to be the bot tier 1 turret going down here in favor of SK Telecom. Mid lane pretty well prepped, but they are right back into this one. So again, 3.6 thousand gold lead just 2 minutes ago. Now it's down to 1,000.
And the Sivir, I think, is one of the big offenders here, but they have so much. Achilleos, they have Sivir Rise, which basically in the early game, when some people don't even have tier 2 boots, means you're going to get caught. The moment that saw how low health the Aurelion Sol was, he realized that he wasn't going to get out, especially with the on-the-ball use of the Realm Warp. Watching So1 and start off the Rift Herald. Looks like SKT considering a contest, but they pull out.
Yeah, not really going to be worth going for, so will be the Rift Herald taken by Jin Air. We'll see the rune picked up there by They can basically prep this wherever they want. I mean, they could just go ahead and get a free tier 2 turret kill in the top lane if they so choose. One charge will knock that down. Otherwise, use it perhaps to weaken the mid lane as well.
Mid lane out of down.
Plenty
Top
of
lane out of
options.
down. Could just break bot lane to set up the... I don't think that'd be the safest thing to do because you wouldn't have to actually venture into enemy territory. But they do control the vision around SKT's blue side, so a lot of options around there. Kind of the happy news for SKT is, again, it's one of those games where Ontara has been run over, just like the GP game, but he's playing Maokai, so he doesn't have to worry about items as much.
Oh, Realm Warp coming through. Faker arriving by himself, going to be pushing forward. Glacial Fissure comes down, buys a little bit of time, but it's mostly just going to allow for Teddy to retreat, but Wraith pays the ultimate price as he gets taken down. Wolf, in the meantime, running away on the sidelines, stopping him from pushing in. Not really going for the trade. Allowing for SKT to get the push in here, not have that flag and drag threat from the sidelines as they try to work down this turret. Minion wave is pretty weak, however. It seems like they might just be able to brute force this.
Just using the ultimate there from Ontara defensively. Ontara can just build some tank items, doesn't need Trinity Forces like a Gangplank. He's on Maokai this time, so able to be relevant with just the Righteous Glory that he has complete. Good move by SKT. They're starting to make us kind of have to rack our brains for a duo ult name with On the Hunt and the Realm Warp, I guess, is because it's been so damn effective. The movement speed and also the reposition. CC coming from multiple directions. It's been very powerful here. And now SKT are going to meet Jin Air. They know exactly where they are, though. So solid. Our SKT with drafts like this. I think they use the Rise better than any other team in the world, but certainly any other team in Korea. Ability to side lane, but also get so many picks with just that ultimate.
You could call it Trivial Pursuit.
That'd be...
2 buttons and you're right there.
I prefer some mishmash of the names, but On the Realm Warp doesn't sound that exciting. Realm Hunt is pretty good, though.
Realm Hunt's alright. I can get behind that.
Well, Realm Hunting so far, success for the side of SKT. And SKT can get the second Drake buff as well, so Wolf extra happy, getting some resist for that. If SKT keep Realm Hunting, they're going to keep adding objectives, putting down control wards, take a Baron, and it's going to just be another one of those kind of standard macro leads, Achilles.
Realm Hunter just sounds like some B-movie ripoff of Blade Runner or something like that.
Stay tuned for the twist at the end.
Yeah. The post-credit scene was beautiful.
Oh, which one? It's like a Marvel film, there's 7. I didn't think Stan Lee could pull off that character either.
Looks great in a dress.
Achilles 2018. Well, this game has kind of led to one of those very SKT-esque macro victories. I guess SKT and KSV, they kind of hold the title there. Does feel like they have complete control, even though Ontara is probably going to be Flame Horizoned at some point this game.
Yeah, we're not that far away, just 30 CS, and it will happen. So, not too far off. Same thing here for Justice versus Faker. 37, and then he's done so. Effort gonna get locked up. He's got several members of Jin Air here chasing him down. Flag and drag over the wall. We'll go ahead and pop him up. We're gonna flash to the side, and seems like he will be staying alive.
Backing away, engineering a way to take this out of top lane. I believe that's an enforced use of
it's going to expire, I suppose.
the Rift Herald. Usually when it's so shallow, lets you know that it wasn't necessarily what was planned. Game has kind of rolled away from the Rift Herald, though, in the past, what, 3 minutes or so?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a transition.
So much space earlier. Paddock almost for Justice to gallop around on the Aurelion Soul and get picks onto the Maokai, but since then been so well held. Map control and an Aurelion Soul is pain for everyone's lane, but when you're made accountable as Aurelion Soul, you're much slower to push minions than other champions after the early laning phase, so not going to have that same roaming impact.
Wolf finding Umti, but shortly behind him. Doesn't want to get locked up by this concussive blows, so goes ahead and peels away. Bang just tries to get a little bit of chip damage in onto these tankier members of Jin Air.
So one can build up his Mega Gnar on the bot side. We're going to see
He's probably
Ontara
gonna take
walk
that
down
turret.
now. Ontara's near, so he can at least delay things, and there's so much vision to down. In fact, there's just so little vision. Like, all Justice can see is his tri-brush near the top side, his red buff, and almost nothing else. A lane ward down mid lane is certainly shallow as well, so map control, predictably, very one-sided to SKT.
Yep, and even what little Jin Air has is now being taken. Control ward taken out there. Faker, not sure if he spotted the control ward, if he just doesn't care. Hasn't killed that yet, but he's got some people wrapping around the backside. But Wolf is playing battle ward for him, so he'll be okay.
Good old Gnar. Going up the Gromp here. Jin Air feel corralled. How frequently it's felt against KSV and SKT. They can't push out. Their own jungle camps are being stolen away from them.
Sivir and Gnar kind of make similar noises as they throw their boomerangs.
Would it be just like the direction for Do, the annoyed grunt sound?
Yeah. I wonder if they just took the, what if they just took the Sivir noise and they just kind of made it higher pitched and that became the Gnar one?
Back in the early days, I'm sure things like that were done. The story of how they came up with Zac sounds is always a funny one.
I think I've heard this story, but it's not.
It's probably not broadcast acceptable.
Yeah,
so.
we'll just avoid that one. Now, the more that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, maybe we shouldn't talk about this right now.
But you have to be creative to come up with some of the sounds of the game.
I mean, I've watched, you know, many a documentary, especially back in college, about, you know, Foley work, trying to create sounds and stuff for films. And, you know, one of the most impressive ones is how they came up with a lot of the sounds in the Star Wars universe. And a lot of the sounds that you would expect would be very straightforward and done practically, they actually just do it, you know, completely differently. So it's really neat to see how those guys can come up with that.
I see SKT come up with a way to actually ratchet up the pace of this game. It's kind of stalled out, even though there's only one team in the lead. But if you're going towards what feels more and more like an inevitable victory, maybe there's no need to if you're SK Telecom T1. No early dinner reservations for them. Wolf chasing and got the frozen mallet now.
Yeah, pretty significant chunk there off of Umti, but Teddy from the sidelines, he's firing away. Rapid fire shots, can't quite get that last one in onto Wolf to get Concussive Blow stun. Now Umti having to jump away on the hunt, gets popped here by Bang. Lockdown coming through in onto Wraith, he gets popped up, tries to stay alive, jumps to the side with the flash, keeps himself alive here for the moment, as does Umti. But Faker over the wall, comes in, gets the lockdown and takes him out, but now he might have bitten off more to get you.
Look at that
the shield. Tries to stay alive, Teddy still firing away, the Devourer there from effort to keep him alive, and now Wolf rejoining the fight for whatever reason, trying to finish off Umti, will get taken down. Realm Warp to the side, Faker trying to get back in there to get that final little blow in onto the J4. Can't quite get it, so instead he'll just take away his red buff.
To no one's surprise, Faker knows his limits more than Wolf in the jungle in his third ever competitive jungling game. Didn't need to go in as Shyvana and finds himself with a great screen.
He's always got that one.
This is really aggressive from Teddy.
Teddy going in, efforts on the side there to help try to lock down, but Teddy feeling a bit overzealous, trying to finish off Faker.
To bang that time, but still was surprising everyone with his bloodthirstiness. Kind of the antithesis of some of the recent action we've seen. Faker's so good on the rise. It's no surprise to anyone. It's his signature pick, it feels like, over his career. Was the LeBlanc for the longest time, but kind of put the LeBlanc past him, or behind him, I should say, after the famous loss at MSI 2015. The Rise has taken that position. Of spots there from Jin Air. Looking at the items, again, there's no lack of power on Teddy, who every game it feels like hits his core on schedule.
He's been on point, farming, always ahead of the game, always doing more than the 10 per minute.
I feel like we've never seen him have a particularly triumphant team fight against tough teams, though, and now kind of alone, but doing a lot of damage.
He's ripping apart Bang right there. So, not quite as triumphant as you would have. As you were alluding to, but still pretty damn good showing.
Team's only 1,000 gold behind, so there's certainly a team fight that Jin Air can win here.
Yeah, and looks like SKT are just going to go ahead and surrender the Infernal Drake. Don't even want to try to poke in for it. Instead, they're just going to be shoving the wave here in mid. But they already got that tier 2 turret, so it's not really going anywhere. It's just getting gold into the pockets of SKT. So, Infernal over to them, another one on the way. Be our last Drake before we see the Elder spawn.
Are we going to have to be the last Whisper next? Because at some point, Maokai is going to be all the free hitting that Teddy can do. Won't be able to run at Sivir in the mid lane too much longer in the game. No Zhonya's this game for Faker, at least until much later. He's going to get the Void Staff next. Looking for the last bits of gold before he can pick that up.
Tara gets the lockdown there on to Sohan as the ult coming as well.
He's very isolated, but notices multiple people bot lane.
He's just trying to outrun the cats, but
because they want to stop Baron.
He's going to get the transformation, gets the stun there into the wall coming down, and like you say, Jin Air, the rest of the squad is starting up the Baron. They have the trap line set up, but that is going to be the Gnar falling. And Tara now joining in the rest of the team, doesn't have the ultimate ready to go. Flashes in over the traps, trying to just stun everybody into the wall. Going to get locked down, however,
Wolf.
they're turning their focus. Wolf goes in, but he cannot get the steal away. Umti gets the Baron here for Jin Air with the smite. A rip apart there for Teddy as he just devours the members of SK Telecom, but Faker is able to fire back. 3 members dead. Umti and Teddy, the only ones surviving with the Baron buff.
So close to the seal, clear 17 HP on the Baron. Watch the replay here. Otara goes in early, you have to commit. Make sure they're going to force it down. Wolf sees his chance to ride himself into Folklore. Smite at 823 to 17 HP. Umti, was he late or was he smart? I'm going to give him the smart credit and say he knew he was in range when he was and got the kill. Picks up the Baron buff. No steal from Wolf. Some Baron buffs alive for Jin Air. That means the gold lead, again, stays in touching distance. Only 700.
I gotta say, I mean, it was a closer steal attempt that we saw from Wolf than we saw from pretty much Score out of all of them today.
Look, I'm willing to say it. Score is worse at smiting than Wolf. I mean,
it's not that.
Most of his memes are smite related.
That's true.
And losing.
And losing. Or at least never winning a title. So, rough
it's
stuff
the bounce
there,
off there,
for
so
Score.
on.
Yeah, they're going to really hard commit
really
to this
one.
They're going to try to punish him. He's going to have the transformation yet again. Tries to get the sun into the wall. Not going to find it. The Cataclysm comes down from Umti, but they're just going to turn straight in onto the J4, and he gets destroyed. Wolf walking away with that kill credit, and now SKT very nicely set up to go ahead and knock down this inner turret here in the bottom lane. Baron-empowered minions, pretty much the only thing that they have to get through, and that's not going to be too difficult.
Let's see what they make of the rotation here from Justice. He's not interested in coming to help wave clear. SKT's going to back away anyway, so good read by Justice. Trying to set some map pressure, even after an objective was 100% to be lost there. We had a lot of these cases where someone's had to take the arrow or the bullet for someone else being caught. In this case, it's Umti. EQ in, and there was no getting out. For that, Jarvan.
He was screwed.
Yeah.
I think is what they used to say.
Did they?
In Latin. I think that's the Latin.
I never took Latin class, so I'll take your word for it.
I did, but I remember almost nothing. Latin class was weird.
Yeah, pushing up anyway. Umti rushing down through mid, but everyone's alone here. Buddy system, I guess you could say. Teddy and Wraith, and then the 2 on the bot side. Hextech cupcakes are down.
I was waiting for Umti to just get caught again right there, but I know it doesn't. I thought it was going to happen.
Not happy on the map, so Gnar walking back through a control ward. So they know that So1 is no longer grouped with the team. Jin just want to play the side lanes. They feel like they can probably still win a 5v5 fight. It's difficult. I hear Realm Warp, I hear Abyssal Voyage.
Through Abyssal Voyage from the side. Effort coming in by himself, trying to get the pinch there in onto Wraith, but this time not quite going to net them a kill. Not even going to net them an auto attack.
What ifs here are real. Justice has a null magic mantle in his inventory. Wonder what that's going to turn into. Could be the Abyssal Mask, could be something like QSS. Hard to say. Could actually be Banshee Veil. That was an old staple of the item build for the Aurelion Soul.
Could be that way. You know, when he comes sailing in at high speed, you don't just immediately get stunned up.
When you don't rush the item, it feels really bad to build, though, because it has Fiendish Codex blasting one and just a null magic mantle.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, it's a bit yucky.
All those C-tier items.
Abyssal Mask to be confirmed from the purchase of the Catalyst and the finished Negatron Cloak. So some magic resist there for the members of Jin Air, but so far it's just been Realm Warp, On the Hunt, and Abyssal Voyage, chasing down members. Hasn't been true 5v5s where the gold lead being even would be relevant. Turns out when the gold lead's not even, but 5 people versus 1, it doesn't really matter where the gold's at.
No, I'm still not sure if there's a skin I like more than Pack Sivir. I think that's probably one of my favorites of all time.
It's not a bad one. Looks a bit weird to me, though.
This looks quite clean. Have it. From the original packs. PAX East. Realm Warp coming through on the hunt here. Realm hunting onto Soan yet again. Gets a shield to try to stay alive. Cataclysm comes down, and he is still in the fight, trying to kite his way back there. His effort chases him, but he just can't quite get on top of him, and that tank launch is not going to connect. Justice, in the meantime, has gotten rid of Wolf, and they are just cutting straight through the middle of SKT, but now Faker fires back. Gets rid of Justice. Teddy still alive, flashing forward, looking for Bang. The crit's coming through. Faker stunned into the wall. He's going to go down. Ace in the hole. The spell shield is there to keep Bang alive, at least for the moment. But Jin Air are still in the vicinity. He cannot back yet. And now they're going to go ahead and charge straight down that mid lane, likely looking for an inhibitor.
Yeah, attempted realm hunting, but it ended up being the 5v5 that SKT had denied from Jin Air the entire time. Advantage Jin Air. So much damage was dumped into Soan. He didn't die. And on the other side, they DPS down Wolf, who tried to dive the backline. Aurelion Sol slowing and burning him down. Teddy getting free hits. Teddy is monstrously farmed and now fed, like you mentioned. And
404.
They've played, what, 5 games of League of Legends, Jin Air. 3 of those games, Teddy has been about as monstrously fed as can be. They've won neither of those 2 previous games where he was fed. Watch the replay here. Everything's used on Soan. They say, okay, we're realm hunting, we got him. He's done. Lives much longer than expected. Faker tries to fight with Wolf, but Wolf is just taking focus fire from Teddy, who's getting the extra passive resets in the brush, and also the Leandri's coming through from Aurelion Sol, and from there it's just closest target into closest target. The stun stops the Grey health from even proccing.
I mean, Soan just actually never died. He just stayed alive the entire time.
He had his Gnar ultimate. Faker's probably like, why is the Gnar ultimate up? It's because he never got to use it previously.
Unreal. Teddy trying to put the team there on his backs. Full build here on this Caitlyn now. Just got the Mercurial Scimitar finished off 4-0.
We know that's not fake. Teddy's full build. He sells his boots every time.
Okay,
and then they lose.
That's that, you know, maybe he's learned. Maybe he's figured it out. If
holding
I
on to the boots,
then I won't lose the game.
Not that far ahead. Not that far ahead in gold. You'll notice about 1,400.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that's just again very tight knit. But there is that double Infernal Drake that is quietly adding up in the background there for Jin Air, and Baron spawning now in about 5 seconds.
A lot happening here. Finding a way to dispatch Teddy is option number 1 for SKT winning this game. A Realm Warp play around Baron, trying to burn that, also a possibility. Bjergsen's shown us the way so many times with that. For now, though, Jin Air not interested in face checking.
That's going to be on the hunt. Popped. Antara going in deep, throws down the ultimate. Stun into the wall, though. Double wall up here for the side of Soan as he just keeps pinning him down. Wolf has to retreat. Teddy almost goes down. Antara on the backside of the fight manages to stay alive here for the moment. The Flag and Dragon. The hit there from Teddy does take him out. Faker is still here, as is Bang, and they're both relatively healthy. Faker locked down. Crit shots going through. Effort getting ripped apart. Now Teddy turning it onto Bang, trying to finish him off. Gets the hits coming through. Pretty even trade. Realm Warp thrown out, but it's a bit of a false one as Faker doesn't want to take it forward.
There's no front line for Teddy, so sacrifices a bit of health, backs away. Teddy got distracted, got exhausted early in the fight, then tried to force down the Maokai. Didn't go for closest target, lost a lot of autos. Ended up being even. Umti could just die here.
Oh, yeah, and he will Bang with the crit. Just goes ahead and finishes off the J4. 49 seconds on the clock. Wolf coming back in. TP will be burned out by Soan. They're worried about the Baron being taken by SKT.
Understandably, they only now spot Faker. He's slowed and, okay, on the hunt's back.
Up. Yep, they're going to be looking for Teddy here perhaps. Effort on the side gets the tongue lash in. Root down here onto Soan, but he's still very tanky on the Gnar, so they're not going to chunk him out yet. But SKT do rotate back over, and they start up this Baron. Justice is alive. He's coming out of base now.
They have to give it up here. There's no way for them to contest this one. They pull back. Smart move by Jin Air. Unfortunate, just the reality of the lost team fight. Antara being able to teleport in if they need. Didn't even need to use that teleport. So this seesaw game 2. Now back to the control of SKT. But Jin Air keep putting in a fight. We saw their body language after game 1. They looked done, Achilles.
Oh, yeah.
Tilted, exhausted, whatever the case, they look done. But they come back in, and Teddy, the man who had his arms folded as we went into the break, he's doing everything he can. I think this was another team fight that he'd probably want to watch back and feel a little bit sheepish about. I need confirmation of a replay to really see that, but it looked like he dropped a lot of autos. That time SKT's formation was better. Are able to pick up the kill after the assassination on the Jarvan.
I mean, maybe we just have another player who really has to be feared after you tick him off. Teddy. He is destroying right now.
They need to win a game for that one to stick, but...
Sure.
You know, his farming, his laning phase. I feel like Teddy and Wraith are kind of living up to their billing in lane. It's just more the team fighting that still needs to be tweaked a little bit for Jin Air.
I mean, it's been quite good. Wraith, I mean, I honestly wasn't sure what to expect from Wraith after the few, matches that we saw, a few games that we saw him play in the last year, given his champions that he played. I wasn't really sure what to anticipate from him, but honestly, it's been very standard, and alongside Teddy, who's a very competent, lane ally, it's been going rather well for Jin Air. They're holding their own against a banging effort throughout the duration of the laning phase, and then you can see Teddy is just enabled and allowed to pop off in the late game. It hasn't been enough yet to secure the victory, but it's still there. You know, the foundation is there, and as I say that, Teddy goes low, but bang. He's going to go even lower. Devour there from effort to help keep him alive. Sidestep on the spin out to avoid the Glacial Fissure, and it seems like the Sivir will live to fight another day.
Oh, these fights are so close. Sivir in the late game having the ability to auto-attack and auto-reset. Double crit with the high crit damage. And so often you can get bursts unexpected compared to most AD carries. Predictably, Teddy, no more shoes. Once again, no socks, no shoes, only damage for the side of Teddy on the Caitlyn.
Phantom Dancer to
it does
finish it all out.
Remember that Sivir, of all champions, has the most ability to drop boots because she has ultimate for movement speed. She can very easily, in a crazy fight, because remember, Sivir fights with a tank line usually not from range at only 500. If it's a crazy fight, she pops around, auto, reset, auto on Teddy. Teddy might die to 2 crits, so we'll see how this pans out. Teddy chunked out, but fleet footwork's enough.
I mean, it's true, you know, she could do that, but I feel like because it's Bang, he likes the Ninja Tabi. I think he's going to be sticking with that one, perhaps, throughout the duration of this. Maybe if we have another, 45-plus minute scenario in our hands, we'll see that transition.
I thought you meant 45 minutes from now, and I nodded my head and be like, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Why not?
Crazier things have happened. Jin Air's in the game.
This is true. This is quite true. I
hope
Jin Air, they co-hold the record for the longest game in LCK history back in spring of 2015. 1 hour and 19 minutes.
I cast that one.
Yep. Versus CJ Entis.
Yep.
Good times. They were both just such good teams.
Oh. Well, this one doesn't look like it's going to go that long. We are also in a different rune set day, as this avoid is used just to close the gap onto Elder. 2 buffs apiece, although Jin Air would love to have an extra 6% AD and AP. It's so difficult against Sivir when you have a no-boots Caitlyn, who's all of your power, though, because one positioning mistake and you lose the game. Coming in as a conga line, Elder Dragon's tanky, still over 10,000 health.
They're peeling off of this one here. Go back, still keep it in their aggro. Ultimate coming out from the from Maokai, and they'll just have to surrender that one. So 2 stacks here for SKT alongside of this Elder Dragon.
Now the problem for Teddy is that when you have a 6-item Sivir and also a Rise with Elder, probably cuts through your tank line faster than you can actually do single target damage. So I feel like the Elder actually has high value for both sides. We're going to see SKT probably pull the trigger if we ever see Jin Air stop hugging turrets, which for now is their best way forward.
Teddy just has to try to maintain that trap line as much as humanly possible. We'll lose 1 from the spell shield of the Sivir, but that makes him that much more susceptible to getting jumped on.
Double Flame Horizon coming through soon for Faker.
Yep. Very close to that one.
I mean, Justice has been unfortunately a non-factor. Very good early movement, so that was where he was looking strong, and some decent team fighting, but he is still short of 5 items, let alone 6. Hasn't been a lot of farm to pick up. More farm has been lost, and it seems like Gnar and Caitlyn got the nod, and Justice is on welfare this time.
He had those few really good roams that resulted in getting the kills there onto Tara, but then they kept trying to fake their way up towards that top side of the map, and they didn't get anything for it. So he was just losing CS consistently over time. So yeah, it's really set him back a pretty significant amount here, as it seems like he's finally trying to get that Void Staff completed.
Necessary. Needs any damage boost you can get. We're back to wave clearing. Game once again stalls out. 1.5 minutes until Baron. SKT need to full-on turret dive, and they can never shake the fact they could lose a team fight if Teddy popped off. So Baron Number, I believe, 3 is it? Maybe 4. I want to say 3 is probably what's necessary here. 7-14-21, so it'll probably be 3.
I believe that's correct. A minute and 10 seconds left onto that one. Elder Dragon buff going to be expiring pretty soon here. So, yeah, SKT not really able to make anything happen with it, but they at least deny it away from Jin Air. And having that increased amount of 80 AP would have been a pretty bad thing for SKT, so decent takeaway.
Unfortunately, both their carries are short to medium range in Sivir and Ryze, so auto-attacking turrets, not something they have the luxury to do, no Tristana or Caitlyn on their side to finish the game.
Everybody else is melee.
They kind of want to get Elder and then say, come fight Baron against us, rather than get Elder and have to siege.
That timing is just a little bit off, so won't have that buff ready to go for this Baron that's going to be spawning.
Hopefully for Justice he has Void Stuff, but given the fact he's lingering with 30 seconds on the buff, probably not.
SKT working as a unit here, pushing in, trying to deny this vision from Jin Air. As much control as they possibly can. So on, currently down in the bottom lane, clearing out the wave, does have that transformation up.
So much vision.
It's going to be Untara coming over the side, has the ultimate ready to go to root them down right into the front line. Massive burst of damage going through onto Wraith. He tries to flash away, but he'll get taken down as Bang claims the kill. Then he retreats his way back into the base. Likely going to try to throw down that trap line, but SKT instead are just going to go peel back straight over towards that Baron.
Yeah, really nice move from SKT. They focus on the closest target. Wraith was so far out of position, uses Redemption, gets no value from it. Jin Air feel the need to push up, but I don't know if getting a Baron steal and dying is worth it for UMT, because with 2 members down, they'll lose most of their base. He's still around anyway.
Yeah, they're just going to go ahead and peel back. There's nothing really that they can do. SKT in control here. Now with the Baron-empowered minions, going to make it that much more difficult for Jin Air to clear them out, which can enable them to finally siege up onto these inhib turrets.
Catch from SKT. Realm hunting was how they got the lead, then there was none to happen for 20 minutes, but the smart pick onto Braum, enough for them with all their aggressive vision. There's a lot of vision on the red side, blue and red, but they could see most of the camps. They knew that Baron buff would be basically free. They back away. The game continues to extend, though, Achilles, getting up to the 45 minutes mark here. So we called it the budget telecom war, with both SKT and KT coming into series they were expected to win fairly heavily, and you kind of leave both. SKT, I think, have played very well. In fact, they've been in control for the majority. I would say SKT, assuming they can close out in reasonable fashion here, do come out ahead of KT, but yeah, it's not. No one's triumphantly saying, like, we're the massive favorites. Both of them have had periods where they've definitely got some VOD reviewing to do and some things to tweak.
The KT series was definitely a lot more back and forth, where KT, you know, if they had a lead, they would surrender, whereas SKT would start off not as strong, and then they would gain a lead and pretty much not surrender it from
how about this if I told you this, if I just reported SKT fell behind in the early game both games, and KT Rolster are known as an early game team, there is still windows there, where as a KT fan you might have some hope. But as you say, kind of a 60-40 at best for SKT, if you're thinking about what it means. It's Realm Walk to mid lane. They want to DPS on the tower as fast as possible.
Yeah, they're working their way in there. Wraith's going to go ahead and throw down that Glacial Fissure, jump back to the side, try to stay alive. Cataclysm comes through, so on with the transformation. That's the ultimate. That's going to be a double kill coming through for Teddy as he goes ahead and gets rid of Effort and Untara. Now the lockup in on the Maker, a triple kill for him. Wolf and Bang running for the hills. They overcommit with the Realm Warp. They burn down the turret, but there's no way for them to get the inhibitor. Teddy just rips them to pieces.
That's an insane fight. The Gnar ultimate allowed Teddy to free hit. No pressure whatsoever in the fight. They're going to move against Baron buff. Actually behooves Bang and Wolf to try and poke in and give Baron buff to the minions. They're going to get at least an inhibitor. Death time is a damn long Achilles.
Yeah, they are 25 seconds here still on Effort,
no
35 on
though.
Faker, but yeah, the minion wave still going to be further behind. That buys them a little bit of time, but still, they might be able to take this out. You can see the tanking coming through from UMT, but
they'll get the inhibitor 100%, but just that delay, bought 20 seconds or so, it means the game won't end. If the minion wave was in position, they end the game here, but this will just be the inhibitor, unless they want to get really frisky.
I think it'd be just way too much there. See, though, go ahead, start retreating. It's ward far behind from Untara. I was just about to say the control ward. He's going to go ahead and TP to this.
Remember, they have the Sivir ultimate. They can close this fast. It's already been blown. All right, we're doing it again.
Yeah, they're going to try to push forward here, but Wolf all on his lonesome. He's going to have to use the ultimate just to pop out and get himself out to safety.
Teddy's kind of
alone. Coming through, and Tara gets the root there onto UMT, goes forward, tries to flag and drag away. He
Still
manages
alive.
to stay alive here for the moment, and no one can get in range of him, so it seems like he has done it. Faker coming back in, a Realm Warp straight up into the front, going to be looking for somebody like Justice if he can get the root down, but actually it's going to be the Raptors blocking out onto his abilities. They managed to get Wraith in the end.
How many picks can they
Looking for
get?
a little bit more. Abyssal Voyage coming through, so on mistiming, and no one arriving.
There's a Abyssal Voyage cancelled, actually, from Effort. No Baron to turn on, so a bit of kills cleaned up, but they lose another turret from this. They did lose the inhibitor, like we mentioned. Very difficult to escort Teddy away when he has no boots, but largely able to do it. Wraith dying is not by any means a big consequence. There's still a chance of going to Game 3.
That really is. 47.5 minutes in, one team fight really could decide this, very much like we saw from Game 1.
I mean, Teddy's 8-0 and voice legendary at this point. It was a siege turret. He might as well have been the fountain laser in the previous fight because there was no one who could damage him. And he was killing people left, right, and center.
I was going to say, calling him a turret is a disservice.
Hence fountain laser.
Yeah.
He's really, really powerful. The fact that he's purely single target can usually be abused because Sivir can cut through other people, but Sivir was basically no relevance in that fight. Her whole front line died in basically an instant.
Yep. Not sure when exactly he did it, but Bang did join Teddy here as far as the no boots train is concerned. So Phantom Dancer here for him as well.
Teddy was 4-2-1 in the loss in the previous game, now 8-0-4. So he's 12-2-5 in this series against SK Telecom, which is already a feather in his cap. See Jin Air piling down bot lane. SKT always have the ability to launch people. Realm Warp, which can just be Realm Warp onto Maokai to get the backline. They have the Abyssal Voyage as well. But Faker's just focusing on clearing the minion wave, stopping there from being multiple waves attacking as the inhibitor is still down in mid. And see how Jin Air's shot calling goes. Wraith did say in his interview that he was expected to take on a lot of shot calling roles. He's the eldest player on the team.
Well, we got a minute left on that Elder Dragon. Jin Air would love to have that.
SKT want to rush down mid lane, but they don't know where Jin Air is. They suspect they're recalling, and we can, of course, see now. Going for a grouped recall. That means they're giving up positioning on Elder. Smart stuff from SKT. Moment you push up there, you put Jin Air into lose-lose situation. Are you losing your inhibitor, or are you losing positioning on a buff?
Well, 35 seconds left onto that one, and then the Baron is going to be spawning shortly thereafter.
Will we see 6-item Aurelion Soul?
He's trying. He's got the needlessly large rod. He's on his way, man.
At least we got the confirmation that, in fact, Gathering Storm is the hard counter to Jin Air GreenWings. That was the joke I saw when we saw...
Oh, looking for the face check. Root comes through there onto So-On.
We're going to once again hit 50 minutes. That'd be a lot of bonus AD AP if you were optimistic enough to take it as a rune. Sound a bit strange in our ears, but that's because this game is oh so close. Jin Air still confident enough to cut through. The Elder positioning on full display.
Teddy needing to stay as safe as humanly possible. Throws down the trap wall here, stopping them from advancing through the ramp. Elder Dragon has spawned. He's actually got them pretty cut off here, and Tara's going to have to go ahead and pop the traps as this Wolf. Minion wave just consistently getting cleared out here with the super creeps now pushing in.
Oh!
A missed time actually onto that one. So Voyage from Effort going to be canceled. He's just trying to get to Bang's side as quickly as he possibly could.
All the DPS out gives Jin Air is the ability to push in and try and control a zone because Fleet Footwork does so much damage as a crit multiplier at this point.
I mean, now we're in that position where you have to choose which objective you want. Elder Dragon and the Baron are both available.
If a trade is to happen, it's one of the few times that Jin Air could consider going for Elder over Baron, but I don't think they want to trade Achilles. They feel like they're in control. They can poke SKT, and SKT can really only hard commit. They have no range to poke.
He goes forward with the flag and drag.
Here it goes.
That's going to be big burst of damage coming through. His Faker tries to assassinate, can't quite get it. Now the pop-up going through there onto Wolf. He is low, has a Guardian Angel. It looks like it's going to go down. Bang now getting jumped on. Here comes So-On. Ready for the transformation, doesn't even need it. It's still going to be a double kill yet again. Going over to Teddy, making another triple kill. Effort and Faker, the only ones left alive. and effort has nowhere left to go. Jin Air GreenWings, I think they might have just done it here, Bob Smithy.
They have. Rise almost was able to assassinate Teddy on the sideline, but wasn't able to. The QSS on point, got away from the damage. They could keep the minion wave as well. There was no ability to interrupt it. Even Faker, the best player of all time, can't stop Jin Air, forcing a game 3.
These would be incredible heroics. Impossible task if Faker was able to stop this one, but Jin Air are just too damn strong. Teddy, putting this team on his back, has brought us to a tie 1-1 in this series. We'll finish off Faker inside the fountain with the incredible amount of damage that his Caitlyn brings forward, and we are going into a game 3.
The stadium here, largely SKT fans are dumbfounded by the result that Jin Air are actually able to force a game 3 against SK Telecom T1. They were so close against KSV, but could not pick up any game victories here. SKT trying to make the team fights work, but in that very narrow passage was able to occupy space. The tanks were strong. The threat onto Teddy was only the Rise, and when Rise had to go back around, when his first rotation did not assassinate Teddy, Teddy free hit, they took out the rest of the members, and we're going to a game 3.
Just like that. Beautifully done by Jin Air. Again, even if they don't win this series, they could feel good about making it this competitive. Teddy especially. I mean, you got to give him MVP.
I think he wins the MVP, but I have another question I'll get to after this replay. Look at how close Faker was to assassinate. Wraith was able to interrupt one of the spells as well. Who knows if that would have been enough to kill with these high AP values, but then all Faker can do is walk around the side, do no damage to the back line. Aurelion still shredding. Teddy walks up, starts auto-attacking. We know how the rest of this story goes. It leads to Jin Air GreenWings picking up this very unlikely victory over SK Telecom T1. But Achilles, with a moment now, let's start to spitball, because does Blank play game 3? Blank was known as the person to close, the closer for the majority of 2017 after Peanut would start. This is definitely something that needs closing. This is definitely something to get on the radar of Blank. It was always said you have to earn the right to play against Blank, but I wonder where all the players' heads are at. It was Wolf who was the closer last time out. Now will it be Blank, or will we see 3 games of Wolf in the jungle?
Well, so far he's not picking up his keyboard or anything, so might be here to stay, but you never know. We've got a couple minutes on the break to figure out what SKT is going to do, but I think despite the relative uninvolvement there at the beginning of the game, we'll still see justice there for Jin Air, but either way, great win for them. We'll see if they can close it out when we come back.